1,500 people showed up to one extravagant event. All nights were sold out. Now, let's take a look back at what it took to pull something this amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the behind the scenes look of Grease, the musical, 2015.
So what was the character in play?
I played Frenchie. I don't know her last name, but I played Frenchie in the play. I am Kelsey Potoma, and I play Rizzo.
My name is Munroe, and I played the character Kaneki.
My name is Josh Wade, and I played Danny Zuko.
So, tell us a little bit about your character in the play.
I keep saying, I like to use the word high maintenance.
He's kind of an interesting character. He really strives for the whole, tough guy, big kind of commanding presence.
Rizzo is the tough leader of the Pink Ladies, who is very brick-walled and has really high walls and doesn't show any emotion.
Danny Zuko, he's the big rod of the T-Bird, most popular kid in town.
So she, of course, tries to go to beauty school and all that stuff, but she's 24/7 trying to fix everyone's makeup up, fix her makeup up. Everything has to look good, everything has to be neat.
He's the second in command of the gang, and so he really tries to embody that, he has to be this kind of tough guy, in control, and so he kind of puts that influence of control over others.
Is just kind of like the leader of all the other ones, and they all look to her.
She's very flouncy, and she tries to get out, she's just kind of bouncy and happy and excited all the time. It's hard to bring her down.
Everyone knows him. Not everyone likes him, but he doesn't notice that. Everyone just kind of flocks to him because he's the leader of the big gang in town.
So how different is it from your personal self? How does it stack against your character?
I think the only thing that's different between me and Rizzo would be she's very more, talkative to people.
I'd say one of the main differences is he's not exactly the best guy, he has really controlling attitude, and so...
No differences whatsoever. I feel I was very typecasted. Not in a bad way though, I really love Frenchie. She tries to be the most upbeat, smiley, positive person, and I'm trying to be the most positive, smiley, upbeat person.
He's kind of mean and really bullies the people around him into his way of thinking, he pushes people to kind of follow him, and I like to think that, I'm not that kind of person, I don't like the idea of hurting people to get what I want.
I can be really rude and the way she is too, and I have really high walls, but she has different morals, let's say. I don't shimmy all the time, and I don't, make out with boys all the time.
So would you say that it was a lot easier to play this part because she's so similar to you?
Yes, personality-wise, and how she's she's not really a comic relief, but she's not viewed in a negative way at all.
I think it's always challenging, like any acting thing. I think one of the main differences, one of the main challenges was not really a womanizer, but not afraid to just be very open, and so that was kind of a challenge because that's really not me.
I feel like it'd be easier to point out the similarities between me and Danny. Completely polar opposites from each other. We are in no way alike. He's tough and low-key and cool, and I'm upbeat and perky and energetic.
And she doesn't try to focus on anything negative throughout the play, which relates a lot to me because I love positivity and I hate negativity, and I just always try to keep things going and lively.
What was it like going up on stage and being a different character than yourself?
I always have, right before I go on stage, I always freak out no matter what I'm doing. But I think that what really got me was I had to remember all the song lyrics, all my own lines, and where I had to be on stage. And
it was a challenge for me, yeah. I feel like as an actor though, you have to take those challenges and face them head on in order to grow as a person, as an actor.
It came, being someone like her came very naturally. I think the only hardest part was having to worry about having that accent because they're from Chicago, according to the story, and Frenchie is known for having a higher voice, so I think that was it, really, just the voice.
So that was probably one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest differences was trying to get comfortable with getting comfortable with Kelsey. So yeah, that was probably one of the biggest challenges.
I really had to really think about how Rizzo would act, and I watched the movie a lot and I did my research, and I did know going into it that I would have to be a little bit different than who I normally am, so that kind of threw me off a little bit.
In general, I needed to calm down. I needed to, as the choreographer told me, I needed to stay low, stay calm, stay cool, brush my hair, fix my hair, just do things that I wouldn't normally do, and step outside my comfort zone in terms of my posture and my physicalities. I had to change some things around, but if there's a will, there's a way. It was the biggest jolt of energy you could ever experience in life. This excited jitterbug feeling that just builds up inside of you, and you just want to perform and give it your best shot out there. You practice this for months, and you're finally getting to show people all the hard work that you've put into this. It's the best feeling.
Coming up next, we talk to the directors about the production.
That show is happening come hell or high water.
Stick around because we'll be right back. You know what's better than watching Grease on VHS? Huh? Watching Grease live.
Oh man, you have no idea. You're expecting lots of singing, lots of dancing, high energy.
November 13, 14, and 15 live at the Estevan Comprehensive School, featuring the hits that will take you back. Songs like
You are supreme, the chicks will scream, grease and lightning. Summer days drifting away to other summer.
Seats are running out, so make sure you buy your tickets today. Tickets are available at Pharmasave for $10. And this is something you won't want to miss. Grease the Musical live at the ECS, November 13, 14, and 15. You don't want to miss this.
My name is Kyle Whitehead. I'm the director of bands here at Estevan Comprehensive School. I have been a part of the last 2 school musicals that we've done, as well as band program, jazz bands, etc.
Hi, my name is Evanne Wilhelm, Mrs. Wilhelm at the Estevan Comprehensive School. I am the drama teacher, and I was one of the co-directors for the musical production of Grease.
Grease is a rock and roll musical based on the 1950s. It's got all the sights and sounds and styles of 1950s life and 1950s music.
We wrestled a lot with what we were going to do for a show. We had quite a few years of hiatus where there hadn't been a musical in a while, and we weren't sure of who we had for kids that would even be interested in coming out and doing it. So we thought Grease would be popular enough that we would be able to bring people out of the woodwork who might not normally audition for a show or might not normally sing and dance in front of other people just because it's so popular. And that we would also have a lot of support from parents. And it really builds relationships. There's a lot of really great parts in it, and it really built relationships between the ladies and the men and the different kind of groups that are a part of it.
So how was everyone casted in the production?
I don't know, when the kids walked in the door, sometimes they would look like one person, but then they would sound like somebody else. So it was just a matter of imagining them in the costume that we knew we would have for them. So, for example, Abby Brokenshire played the role of Sandy, but if you knew her in person, you would, when she walked in the door, she really looked like a Rizzo to a lot of the people that were sitting on the casting panel. But as soon as she opened her mouth, she sounded like a Sandy. So we really had a hard time dealing with that. But sometimes it's just a matter of a wig or a sweater or a piece of makeup that makes the transformation happen. We threw a blonde wig on her and took some pictures, and I showed it to some of the kids and teachers, and they didn't even know who she was. So that's when we kind of cemented the fact that, yeah, she was going to be the Sandy because she had the voice for it. With the men, it was really all about voice types because there are some very distinct characters in the T-Birds with who the leaders are and who the followers are and which ones are more adult sounding. Like Kaniki was definitely somebody who has a more adult persona, so we needed to have somebody who could play the more mature side of the T-Birds, and then we had kids like Cole McCaskill who could really bring forward the jovial part of being Sunny and the jokester, and a little bit typecast, I would say, and he would probably agree that he plays that character in life.
What was your creative process going into this play?
We looked at it as a melding of the original Broadway production with some of the aspects from the musical, the movie Grease that came out in the 70s.
The creative process, well, for a teacher, it's kind of all over the map. Every kind of spare moment that I had, you'd be imagining it on stage. A lot of sleepless nights, lying awake before falling asleep and closing your eyes and imagining what that set was going to look like, what those kids were going to look like, what they would sound like.
We really had to watch how we mixed it and how it came across to make sure that the continuity was still there for both original shows and the movie.
I get to the point where I keep a notepad beside my bed because if I didn't write them all down, I would never fall asleep. So that was kind of my brainstorming time at night, or even then emailing people. I know Mr. Whitehead and a lot of the adults who helped with it would laugh because they would get weird emails from me at 3 o'clock in the morning when I would have a bubble or an idea about how something should be. So that was my creative flow through the whole thing.
So, Mr. Whitehead, can you tell us a little bit about the pit band?
Well, the pit band consists of 2 tenor saxophones that were played by myself and Rebecca Ford, 2 guitars, which were played by Matt Shuya and Nathan Wilhelm. We had a keyboard bass that was played by Jillian Watson. We had piano synth that was played by Mrs. Wilhelm. And we brought back alumni drummer Kyle Goulet to round out our pit band. The majority of the pit band were either current or former students, and the 2 that weren't former students here were a former teacher and a current teacher.
Since there were 2 types of production, both Broadway and the movie, how did you merge the 2 together and interpret it on our stage?
In 2008, the musical Grease actually did a revival on Broadway, and it was at that time that those producers made the choice to kind of merge more of the material from the movie into the Broadway stage show. So when ECS did it back in 2005, it hadn't been revived on Broadway yet, so they were working with a very different text than what we worked with in 2015 when we had the revival version. So we didn't have to do a lot on our end to make it match with what people know and love from seeing John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John in the movie production.
We tried to stay as true to what everybody is used to. Most people are used to the movie. Not all of them have seen the Broadway production. There are a few numbers in the Broadway production that people have never heard before. So we tried to keep it as true to what was originally there. We did have to rescore some of the music for different vocal ranges because obviously our students aren't going to have the same vocal ranges as the original people that portrayed these parts in either the Broadway show or the musical. So Mrs. LaFrance did a very good job of transposing all the music for the kids.
So what kind of energy were you looking for from the performers?
High energy the whole time. You have to be up there, especially for the big dance numbers. You've got to make it look like it's the most exciting time of your life. And for them in the pit band, we have to give them that kick of energy from our music. So we really had to keep it pumped up and going as good as we could, and as good as we can only go as fast as the kids can dance too. So if the kids can only get their dance part up to a certain speed before it becomes dangerous, then that's where we land our tempos at.
Energy, commitment, and dedication and focus. That's how I would describe it. I think for a lot of them, and if even speaking to a lot of them, and some of them, I'm gonna look in the camera now and be like, if you're 25 and now watching this video that we made back in 2015, 2016, that's what we were getting out of you. And it was something I think that you had never done before in any of your other classes or elements in your life, that you had this kind of focus and energy and all put into this short period of time, and how you grew so much as a human being from that point forward. So wherever you are right now, and I know these glasses don't look cool now, but trust me, they were in 2015. But take that, what you learned from that experience and watching this video again, and put it into your life now, the energy and the focus that you had, and that you pushed yourself to do things that you never thought that you could.
So what was one of the stressful parts of the production, from the planning stages to the actual performance nights?
The stressful part is that there is a deadline that doesn't move. That show is happening come hell or high water, and you don't get to change it. You don't get to be sick and write the test the next day. It is happening at that time no matter what. And I think a lot of, even for teachers and for the students and everybody, there's a lot of things in life that we can always postpone when we need to, or reschedule. So that was the most stressful thing, is knowing that this looming deadline would be there whether we were ready or not. That's the stressful part. So you had to be, whatever happened from now until that point, that was what was going on stage.
We noticed your keepsake in the background. Can you tell us a little bit about your Pink Lady's jacket?
This is my keepsake. I'm going to show it off. The students, to thank us for all of our work in the production, made myself and Mr. Whitehead our own Pink Ladies jacket, custom made, custom fit. So I got a Pink Ladies jacket and he got a T-Birds jacket, which is like the coolest gift I have ever received as a teacher to date. So it was pretty cool that they got together and thought of that idea. And I know Mrs. Munroe gave them a lot of help with that, so thank you to her as well.
Coming up next, best memories from the production.
Be meeting as many people as I did.
Stick around, because we'll be right back.
I'm Kelsey and I play Rizzo, if you guys forgot. And today we're going to do a stage tour, a quick one for Greece. So let's go. Okay, so right here is our opening picnic table scene where the Pink Ladies spend. And on that far end is where the boys have their opening bench scene, right when we all introduce ourselves, and our beautiful catwalk with our pit band. Great pit band. And then we're gonna go backstage now. Okay, so this is where all the magic happens. This is where we open our curtains. We've got our lovely couch and stools for beauty school. The couch is for Jan's basement party, which now has Sunny sitting on there. And then the stools are just...
Sunny. I don't think we've introduced Sunny.
Yes, we did. But we'll... Oh, let's go. Oh, we can't get backstage. Oh, I guess we'll have to do that another time. Back here is on stage. We have our giant levels here and our locker for scene 2 and our grease lightning. Actually, let's go check that out. This is grease lightning, all greased up. Looks good. The other side is when it doesn't look so good. Yeah, that's our stage, and then that's 560 people, I believe, will be out there. But there will be 560 people. That's our beautiful cast. So let's wrap that up, and we'll be back.
That's kind of an interesting experience. You know, you put all this time into it, all these hours of practice, and I don't want to say anticlimactic because, like, you know, for the performances, it was such an amazing feeling. You know, you really, there's not words that can explain that feeling after you perform the show, and it's just, I mean, pure joy and excitement, and you're happy and you're full of energy. But it's almost kind of anticlimactic, you know, all this time, and it's 3 days, you know, just these 4 shows, well, I guess school performances too, and that's done. Like, after that final show on Sunday, it's just kind of, you just have that feeling of, what now?
So, what was one of your favorite moments in the entire production?
My favorite part of being director was seeing the kids develop, and to take a kid that started at square one with little to no acting on stage, very little singing, and just to take that and mold it, and then to watch them grow and change and become this super confident being when they were on stage. That's the best part of doing my job, and that's the best part of teaching drama and choral and all of those fine art subjects. It's the same across the board.
One of the most incredible experiences was the first time opening night performing Grease Lightning. At the end of it, it's me in the car, I'm posing, and the spotlight's on me, all the other lights are down, and just the applause, it seemed, just me up there, it seemed to go on forever, and such an amazing feeling. It made me think of, these musicians and actors who continue going on even though, in their 70s and 80s, and you sometimes where it's like, well, why would they do that? Why not just retire? And it's because of that feeling. It's because, at that one moment, I kind of realized it's like, if I could do this forever, if I could be in this moment forever, I would. And it's just amazing. I mean, you can't say it's amazing enough. It was just incredible.
To narrow it down to a favorite moment or two is just a crime. I enjoyed the entire process. I enjoyed staying in a hotel in Regina, talking with some of my castmates, and learning how to dance. I can dance now to these 3 songs I danced to, but regardless, I learned how to dance. I expanded my vocal range drastically. The entire experience was just, not gonna lie, before Wilhelm announced that we were doing Grease as a musical, I had never seen the movie before. I was completely in the dark, but I knew I wanted to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that I auditioned, because the problems I experienced were not only due to that lack of knowledge, but due to the fact that I'm entering an era that I've never been a part of ever before. This 1950s entire scenario is the most foreign thing. I feel like, even though it happened not 60 years ago, on this very planet that I'm living on right now, but it's completely different from anything I've ever experienced, and that entering a new world, a new society, even if it's just on stage, is a difficult thing to do.
If I had to pick one of the best, okay, actually that's technically 2, but there was one time, I'll never forget this whole moment will be clear in my head forever, and it's so, I don't know, it just brings me back to those days. And what had happened was we were getting really close to performance days. We were doing dress rehearsals, but our choreographer was there, so we were working on making sure our last couple songs were like super perfect. And all the leads were up at the front of the catwalk, and we had to, how the song started is we would like cut off in 2 lines and cross each other. And so whenever we had to restart, we had to recross each other. And every time we recross each other, we would high-five each other down the line. And then every time we would high-five each other, we would like flip it and slap their butt and go down. And we kept doing that every single time, and we kept having to redo it. So that happened like 5 times. And it sounds really weird and really like stupid, but it was probably because we had a laugh about it, and butt slapping was our thing, man. And it was just, I don't know. It reminds me, whenever I think of that moment, it reminds me of how great that doing that production was.
I think my favorite part would be meeting as many people as I did. I don't usually talk and get to know a whole lot of people, and especially being in like my grade 12, I got to know a lot of the grade 9s and the grade 10s and 11s, and I have a lot of really good friends from those grades, and I really got to know who I was as an individual, and I also got to know like my best friends who I've been friends with for 4 or 7 years. I really got to know them more, and I don't know, it made our friendship a lot closer.
I would come back like there was a few people from production 10 years before who were in high school and did the production. They came back to watch us, and I don't think they'll ever do it again in another 10 years, but if they do, I want to be like them and come back and see the next generation or the next generation's Frenchie and see how she did her voice or how enthusiastic she was. And
what kind of advice would you give the future actors of ECS, or maybe even Grease actors in the future?
To any and all people who will ever be a part of a Grease production in the future, my word of advice is, really have fun with it. Don't worry so much. Don't worry. Don't be overly concerned about the things that could go wrong. Focus on the positive because it is an amazing experience. Advice to any future Kanikis out there: you really have to have fun with the role. I mean, some of the stuff you have to do could be kind of awkward or embarrassing, especially for like a high school performance, that sort of stuff. But honestly, I mean, it's acting. Just have fun with it. The audience responds to it. They laugh, and I mean, at the end of the day, it is just acting. So, really, my advice for everyone is just enjoy it. And if you have the opportunity to be a part of something like this, even if it's not Grease, definitely take it, because you won't regret doing it, but you will probably regret passing up the opportunity. And so that's really my advice.
I would actually maybe hopefully talk to some of the people who possibly do it again in the future and like ask them like this is like, how much fun did you have? Did you make friendships like we did? And just kind of like talk about how awesome it was, and hopefully they make just as good of memories, if not better, than we did.
Be proud of what you put out there. Be excited and be nervous. Have those nerves about you, those doubts. But when you get those doubts, conquer them immediately. Find out what you're uncomfortable with and shoot it right in the throat. Say, I'm going to fix that because that's going to make my production better. Take advantage of your doubts, and your doubts will turn into confidence.
I think that I want to tell them that you can do things that you will pleasantly surprise yourself, and just to not be afraid to try new things. And the students that did this show will remember it for the rest of their lives, and they will take it with them, and they will be better human beings because they were in this show. And I wish the same thing for everybody else that comes into whatever show we do next, and therefore, and so forth.
I would love to thank every single person involved with the production, whether it be the director, the amazing directors, the phenomenal choreographer, the extremely talented pit band, the hard-working crew, and all of my cast members. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for making my senior year at high school the best year I've ever experienced in public school, because it was phenomenal.
Hello again. If it's 2020 or 2030 and you're watching this video, this is Mrs. Wilhelm, your old high school drama teacher. It's nice to see you again. Good luck, and I hope wherever you are in your life right now that things are going amazing for you, and don't be afraid to look me up and say hello wherever you are in the world, and I wish the best for all of you. Mwah!
So right now we're walking up on the Quad Squad. They are the group of 4, which I am part of. Hello, Quad Squad. How's it going?
It's going good.
How'd that take it?
Another?
I never had one in the first place.
Yeah, you did. Oh.
Anyway, so this is the Quad Squad. We are the group of boys. Boy number 1. Boy number 1. Boy number 2. Boy number 3, and boy number 4.
No, you're 3. He's 2. I'm 4.
Yeah. Just kidding. Not at all. Anyway, so we are the coolest group. We are the coolest group out of everybody here.